Massive. Yo, massive. 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 Yo, massive. Yo, massive. 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 Yo, 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 massive.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the West Ham Review. Hope everyone's keeping well, and welcome back to Thursday with me and Budgie. Budgie, as always, good to see you, sir. How are we?
I'm very well, thank you. Very disappointed I didn't get my usual introduction, though, Tone. Come on, what's going on, mate?
I'll stand corrected then. I shall rewind on that. The exalted one is in Budgie.
Love it. I love it. New one every week. I love it. Thanks, Tone. Yeah, brilliant, mate. It's not been a bad week, actually. Yeah, it's been quite nice. Quite nice.
Good
week.
stuff. Good stuff. As always, let's say hello to great people in the chat and their community. And then we're starting off with Brendan, and he also says, "Hi, Tom and Budgie. Came here looking for usual, left disappointed." Sorry to hear that, mate. Hope you're keeping well there, Brendan. Good evening to Phil. How we doing, evening all? And I think we know who this person is. Harry Monk. Good evening, all you beautiful people. Come on, you irons. It's always a pleasure with Howard.
Yes.
And they say hello to there. And Brendan's asking that question. Yeah. When did you change your name, Howard? It should be an interesting one to find out as well.
Talking of name changes, people might have noticed that this is now Hammers Football TV instead of Early Doors Football TV. And that means now I've got to readjust the intro video, mate.
Yes.
You keep giving me work to do, didn't you, son? Hey?
Ain't a bad thing, mate, is it? I mean, like, you know, I'm still learning and doing certain bits and pieces, but we're getting there, mate. We are getting
Yeah,
there.
we
So
are getting it.
not bad at all. Good evening to Words and Pictures as well. In answer to your question, tumbleweed. Yes, they changed it by Depol. And they say hello to each other as always. Howard or Harry, this is going to be like the pronoun stuff. Oh, dear me. This is true. Yeah. Well, as long as he's not gone for the other one, that's the key thing.
Yeah.
He's saying referendum by Fluke off the Risotto album. Very good. Good evening, usual. Hope you're keeping well. Good evening, all he's saying there.
Usual.
And looking at everyone saying hello to each other. And good evening to Frog as well. Fine evening, gentlemen. How we diddling? Not too bad, mate. It's the evening's kind of picked up from what it was this morning. It was a bit dull and grey and overcast, but it's actually kind of got on pretty well. And there you go. H, just as Redneck was known as. So we refer to him as H.
H it is.
Israel, how are you? Howard has gone all Marco Rose at us. That's brilliant. Good evening to Westham as well. Good to see you as well, mate. It's been a long while. Big up Tony and all in the chat.
Evening, Machine.
Usual, how was Millwall? Of course, yes, yeah. You went to see, didn't you? Yeah, you saw that as well. Steve Bell, good evening to yourself. Tone, Budge and chat. Good to see
Evening,
you, mate.
Steve. Nice to see you, mate.
I was saying, I can't lie, I had a tremendous day. That's good to hear. And they're asking that did the grandchildren enjoy themselves as well, which is nice. Yes, indeed. Thank you, words and pictures. Evening, the exalted Budgie and the wondrous Tony. Oh, pleasure. Thank you very much for that as well.
Nice.
And the grandkids loved it. As I mentioned, my son-in-law and daughter sponsored the game. That's brilliant. Yeah, so plenty of Millwall hospitality then. If you see if that was the case.
Yep.
Yeah, good. And all sell out each other is good. Brilliant stuff. Well, where do we start, mate? I mean, obviously,
Well, we call it the West Ham review, so I suppose we better start by reviewing the last two games that we've not been around for on a Thursday.
Yep.
So, first of all, the Liverpool game, I suppose, really. In general, very disappointing. I mean, we did have some decent game times there. And it did look like at one point that we might have, shithoused the result out of it, really, to be fair. But, Liverpool, true to form, they never let off, did they? And,
No.
the inevitable result, to be fair, Tone, Well, I say inevitable. A point ain't bad. I know it was 2-1, wasn't it?
2-1 in the end, yeah. I think, I didn't see the game myself. I was away at the time, but what I've heard of it, we didn't a bad account for ourselves. We played very well against Liverpool. And it took them till virtually the dying embers for Van Dijk to get the header to make it 2-1.
Yeah.
But as always, why is it we kind of sent the rock up for the good teams, and then
Sunday happens.
yeah, I was going to say, oh yeah, that's putting it nice and mildly, I must admit.
Actually, it was Saturday, wasn't it?
Saturday when we kind of let ourselves down, and
Then Saturday happened. Yeah, I mean, look, to be fair, I would give us like the team performance on the Liverpool game. I would probably have given the team probably a 7, and that would have been fair. This week, if I was going to give a team performance, it would be less than 4.
Yeah,
because they were shocking. Did you watch the game Sunday?
I did, mate. I mean, looking at the the first half, we just didn't make a good account for ourselves whatsoever. And to fair play to Southampton, I mean, as I said on the weekend, why is it they well, put it this way, they're relegated. They haven't got to worry about anything. They can go out there, they can just
express themselves.
And that's what they literally did. All I'd say if I was a Southampton fan is, why didn't we do that for the whole season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair to Southampton and their fans, to be fair, that they could have gone into the half-time break 1 or 2-0 up.
Oh, definitely, mate. I agree on that.
We wouldn't have had any answer for it either. We would have deserved a 3-1 spanking if that had been the case, But, I think that it's going to be spoken about anyway. Probably people in the chat will mention it as well. But, Tadebo's comment. Sorry, not Tadebo.
Fulkrug's.
Fulkrug's comments after the game. Okay. Now, there are people that would say, that should be behind closed doors and stuff like that, which I do agree with, But he didn't single anybody out. He didn't directly say it was the defence or the midfield or the goalkeeper or the coaching staff. He didn't actually point the finger at anybody. He just said, in general, we're shit.
Yeah.
Who could disagree with that, though, Tone?
No, I mean, there was truth in it. There's no two ways about it. And not being funny. I mean, yeah, I get the argument of it should have been behind closed doors. I mean, fun if as you got Jay Boothroyd and Jamie O'Hara saying, "Oh, I should never have said that." But then sometimes players are only human. If they're allowed to express things, I know, they've got to be very PC, just like the managers when they do their post match talks. Got to be very careful about what they say. But when you look at something like that, I make him right on what he said. We go 1-0 up, and the first thing we resort to is hoof football. And that kind of summed up that game. And I think it's because look, don't get me wrong, he should have had a goal.
Yeah,
disallowed for one. So they obviously there's frustration in that and out of all of them, you could say that at least he was trying to do something.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, okay. I do understand some of the criticism for him speaking out. I do, because I mean, like Stell said on Monday night, if I'd have been a player in that situation, and I think, no, it wasn't Stell, sorry, it was Kieran that said it last night. If I'd have been a player in that dressing room, I'd have had him by the throat up against the wall, asking him what the fucking hell he meant, Who are you pointing the finger at, mush, kind of thing. He said, but as a fan, I loved it. I loved the fact that he called them out and said, we're playing shit at the moment. He said, because it shows a bit of ambition, or a bit of character and a bit of desire.
Yeah.
And I said, and I've said this ever since Sunday when he had his interview. The first thing that came to my mind is, if that man wanted out of the club, why would he care?
Yeah.
Why would he care enough to say that? He would just plod along and go, yeah, we were fine. No, he cares, right? He don't really want out of this club, I don't believe. I think that's all kind of social media hype. But, I mean, look, I don't know. I haven't got any insider knowledge or anything like that, Tone. But, the fact is that actions speak far louder than bloody words do. And then in this case, the words backed up his actions.
Yeah. No, that's right. Let me just catch up the chat, and then also see what their replies are to this as well. Frog saying, Budgie left a link to that Bob Hopkins Docklands walk around.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. I will go back to that later. Bless you.
You were saying it was never mentioned about my alliance to my West Ham. He's saying, Hedgehog rolls in. Steve saying, boiler, and he's saying absolutely yes. That's for the Millwall thing.
Just give me 1 second, Tone. I'm going to go and grab a drink out of the.
No, what are you doing? I'm going to catch up with the chat, so that should be
cool.
Perfectly time it. Absolutely usual saying there. Frog saying, "Spill check is worse than making mistakes." Yeah, it can get you in trouble as well, Frog, sometimes. I was saying, I have to warn something usual. Oh, dear. Fighting talk. Love that. Let's catch up with people saying like each other. Yeah, gum shield. Terence, good evening to yourself as well. I hope you're keeping well, mate. Good to see you. Phil saying, what's the rattling noise, chap? Sounds like you're on a push bike with a dodgy chain. I think, well, as you notice, Budgie's gone off at the moment, and so it may be that. Hopefully, when he comes back on, we'll see if that noise appears back up again. There you go. Yeah, Budge, we're getting there's a bit of feedback going on. We can hear.
Is there?
Yeah. Sounds like a kind of mini digger in the background.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, strange. Yeah, because Phil's saying about the rattling noise. Yeah, it sounds like you're on a push bike with a dodgy chain.
I can't hear anything. There's nothing. I can't hear anything. There's nothing coming through my audio system either. Is it
Yeah,
constant, son?
Yeah, it is constant.
I'll go out and come back in, shall I?
Okay, mate.
All right, I'll see you in a sec.
No worries. Good evening to Stephen Spraggs. Hope you're keeping well, Stephen. It's been a while as well. Everything's all good with you. Evening, lads, he's saying there. Steve Bell, who's on the jackhammer? I know. Yeah, it is a bit. Hopefully, when Budge comes back in again, it's been resolved. We'll see. Brendan's saying, yeah, Frog, you left that link in another name too. I feel naked going by my birth name. My father lived next to some Linskys when he was a tad. That's lived, sorry, yeah. Oh, Stephen, it. Frog, Tog's not my name, mate. Long story. Yep, still there, mate. Still there.
It's still there.
Whatever you're doing now is going.
Well, all I did was I changed over my sound system. I've unplugged the headphones, and I'm now out of the laptop speakers.
Yeah, it's a little bit that it's quieter than what it was. Put it that way. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, hang on, wait 1 second. Let me try.
Sometimes team blatant when relegated. And 10 minutes at the back. Good evening to yourself as well. And they do. They've got nothing to, there's nothing to fight for. Nothing to kind of to basically play for. They can just have a free reign and do what they want. And they showed what they can do in the first half. Unlike us, which was cowardly in certain respects. Brendan says, so a couple of Christians knocked on the door of the office today and engaged in a nice chat. He's also followed up by saying, I asked him why there was a highway to hell, but only a stairway to heaven. I remember a conversation my dad had that with a Jehovah's one time. That was quite interesting. Tell them a lot of foreign players just say it how it is. Very true. And I suppose if you look at it, Vorsprung Duck technique kind of thing, maybe it's that he's kind of so used to a certain way and style. It could be that, possibly. There you go, gone.
Has it?
Yeah.
I've changed a few settings.
Yeah, that's gone, mate.
Excellent. Excellent.
Good evening to Damien as well, mate. Good to see you. Anyone see the press conference? He's capitulated. Unfortunately not, but I did see an article in the afternoon because I've got a lot of project work on at the moment, and I did hear people saying it wasn't great. I mean, Budgie, did you see the press conference?
No, I didn't, but I saw Russ's roundup of it shortly after the press conference. Russ said that it was better than other press conferences that he said it wasn't like your normal copy paste rinse and repeat type press conference. He said some of the questions were better, and Graham Potter was kind of participating with some of the banter as well in the background and stuff like that. So I didn't see it myself, no, but he said that that Potter had mentioned the Fulkrug post-match interview, and that he said, basically, sometimes players are passionate about their game, etc. He said we would have preferred to have done that in the changing room, but it is what it is. Can we move on? Type of thing. So capitulating, I suppose, probably about right. Yeah.
I suppose what was good to see that at least the club didn't say, well, we're going to fine him for the comments he's made. They've kind of said, like, nah, we'll let this one slide. So that's good.
No further action, because at the end of the day, all he's done is spoken his mind about a group of players, not individuals. And that's the important issue there. That he hasn't pointed the finger and said, right, Paqueta was crap. He was crap. He was crap. The coaches are crap. He hasn't done that. He said, as a collective, we've been shit.
Yeah. And this is the thing. The interesting thing about this kind of thing, because I know we had the Sunday night takeaway, and Yeah, I got a comment saying that suddenly I'm a anti-West Ham channel because obviously some of the comments we made, and it's a case of we say it as it is sometimes. If it doesn't look right, then we are entitled to say these things, rightly or wrongly.
The thing is, the way I see that, Tone, is that we don't have to do what we do. We choose to do it. We enjoy doing what we do. We do it because it gives us a platform to have our opinions heard. Okay, and it's up to the viewing public as to whether they want to watch or listen to our broadcasts. Now, for those that are critical of it, it's fine. We put ourselves out there for criticism and also for the praise. But, I have no issue with the criticism. But to suggest that this is an anti-West Ham channel couldn't be further from the truth. This channel, right, started off as a football-loving channel by a staunch West Ham fan. That man there. Okay, that man right there started it as early doors football TV, but because of his allegiance to this club, it is now called Hammers Football TV. Make of that what you will, critical people. This is not anti-West Ham channel. That's why we do the West Ham review on a Thursday, because you felt, Tony, did you not, that you weren't covering West Ham stuff enough?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah,
dedicating certain time to it. So, you called me in to help you out with it. And listen, those people that are critical are not watching all your content. That's all I can say.
No, thank you, mate. I mean, look, you take the rough with the smooth, and that's nothing. I mean, we're pretty fortunate we get off quite easily, really, in that respect.
Yeah. I mean, I've been criticised ever since I started doing this. I've been criticised for smoking on screen. But, that if I don't smoke on screen, you're not seeing the whole picture of me.
Yeah.
I'm a smoker, and that's me. If I was an alcoholic, I'd have a bottle of wine or whatever next to me. I would, because otherwise you're not seeing the whole picture.
True.
And so, I understand that people might not like the fact that I smoke, but it's not affecting you. You're not smelling it. You're not getting it on your clothes. I'm not polluting your lungs, Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's up to me what I do while I'm on the screen. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch, You don't have to listen to what I've got to say. And there are some that don't, and I'm fine with that.
True.
But, in general, though, Tony, I have heard nothing but positive stuff about your channel.
Thank you, mate.
And that's from staunch West Ham fans, I
appreciate that. Thank you, mate. Michael, please, good evening to yourself. He's saying, even Potter is clueless. Said in the press at the day, you need a second guy in the Prem, and he took all our attackers off versus Southampton. Practice what you preach. You've got to realise if you're doing saying things like that, and I make you right, Michael, the substitutions he did in the second half just screamed out that he was trying to hold out for 1-0. But taking off your attacker, especially for Kruger, I think in that respects was the wrong decision. 1-0 doesn't win you a game sometimes. We haven't got the players to hold out for a 1-0 win, unfortunately. And then
not unless it's scored in the 86th minute or something.
It's the fact that, what was it, 94th minute, and they equalised. And well taken goal. There's no two ways about that. But it should have been ages ago. But when but it's a fair comment from Michael there. Fox said, telling you busy having a Thomas fire the doorbell seems to be the modern strategy. Damon's been saying it for months. Mentality, lack of leadership. #Potter out. And when you look at that side of things, it's where do we go with that? I mean, you just asking the question that, Damien, in or out for Potter? If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be hearing he's saying.
I mean, Damien, I understand your sentiment, and we spoke about this last night on Old School Hammers. But the thing is, I understand why you don't want Potter, but if Potter goes, who are we going to get? The next guy off the dole queue, and we can't keep doing that. You know, we have to have some form of stability, even if it's not a winning stability. We've got to have some form of stability before we can build a winning mentality, in my opinion. And I think we need to stick with Potter for at least until the next January window and see where we go from there. But, you know, the thing is, chopping and changing managers all the time isn't helping the club. Good evening, Mama. Thank you for joining us, sweetheart.
I agree in that, because all we're going to be doing, basically, she's saying obviously evening to the chat as well, is we're just going to keep resetting all the time. And can we afford to keep doing that? Not at this moment, that's for sure.
We're not Manchester City. We can't afford to rotate our squad every season.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I can understand Damon's criticism of Potter, because at the end of the day, he's not exactly proved his worth in, you know. Look, I suppose it comes down to the same old thing. The Aston Villa game, when he first came in, we saw a little bit of, hello, this looks good, actually. If we're going to see this now in that short period of time, we may see some improvements. And we needed it at the time, because everyone was still feeling that Lopetegui shit that altered us for months. But
I mean, in fairness, Potter did make a tongue-in-cheek comment in that, because, as I said, I watched Russ's breakdown of it, and apparently he said something like, you know, we're not conceding early goals anymore. It's just not in our remit anymore. However, we are conceding late ones, which was Russ's input to that. But it is true. You know, we're not conceding early goals, but we're not holding on to a lead either.
No, and the thing there, it is, mate. And going back to Michael Blease there, when you think about it, the one thing you're kind of taught as a youngster, especially if you've got a decent forward, is you defend from the front.
Yeah.
But when you take them off, and we've not got, and there's no like for like player being put out there, it was a no-brainer. They was going to get something out of it. Terence saying, Budgie and Tony, I thought his words were refreshing. It's obviously Fall Krug. West Ham went to sleep once after scoring. Definitely agree on that as well. His frustration was evident, and people on here saying the same thing on here, their opinion. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. That's what we look for. Good evening to Darren as well. He's saying, evening all. Was at the Southampton game, and Fall Krug was right. We were shit.
Absolutely, and I think 99% of West Ham fans would agree with that. Yeah, nobody. Look, I said on a comment on that video actually that Russ did today, and I said, you know, it's all very well, you know, people saying, yeah, but we're not going to get relegated. That's all very well, but who wants to be the worst of the rest? And that's currently what we are.
Yeah, I suppose the only saving grace is that we've got Big Ange and Spurs that are lucky enough a little bit more shit than what we are.
Well, yeah. But, you know, when I think about the Premier League, I very rarely think about Tottenham. They very rarely enter my mind.
Well, I'm just looking at that point is the fact of we're going to be playing them soon, and obviously it is going to be battle of that position. Are we going to get something out of it to be above them and let them finish below us? Because that would be a godsend in itself.
Yeah.
They're obviously criticizing, saying about obviously the mic issue.
Yeah, I think what I did was, instead of letting it select the mic itself, I selected it, you know, manually.
Yeah.
Instead of selecting the one they select, because there's two settings for this mic. I selected the other setting.
Okay.
Clearly, it's sorted it out. So thank you for that.
Sounds like Electric Cricket's interfering with the stream.
Yeah.
Push, get my satisfaction. They're all talking. Budgie full of static. I love the comments we get. Terence is saying, is Budgie drilling for oil? Well, the price of it these days. Big up to Lone Star London. Good to see you. Afternoon to yourself. How's things out there? Is it too hot? Don't be keeping warm, mate. It's good to see you. Usual saying, Budgie in Club Tropicana. H is God. I'm God. Mama's saying, welcome to God. They're all saying that's better, Budge. They can hear you now.
Thank you.
Big up to
God,
Tony
God
Claude
is
Gunner.
just dog spelt backwards.
Absolutely, exactly. Doc, yeah, you're saying that, and then comes Tony Claude, Arsenal Gunner TV. People go and see Tony's channel and that, and give him a share, like, and subscribe. He's a good guy as well. Big ups, Tony. Big up to yourself, brother. Hope you keep it well, mate. And yeah, I'll make this right. Yeah, Germans are used to winning; it's in their blood. Totally agree on that comment.
Yeah.
Congrats,
And
Howard.
you know, like I said last night, and I don't know whether I mentioned it on Sunday on the takeaway, but I said, you know, Paul Krug is a German, and Germans are no nonsense. They don't talk in riddles. They say it how it is, you know. And if they think that we're shit, they're going to say we're shit. If they think they're God, you know, God's given, then they're going to say so. And that's just the German way. And you can't criticize a person for their, you know,
their honesty, heritage, yeah, their honesty, the truth, you know. And I think you're right what you're saying, mate. It's a case of us as Brits, we are not used to that kind of directness sometimes, even though we want to be like it.
I mean, Thomas Frank's another example. I mean, he talks the way he talks, and he's very blunt and to the point. He doesn't like to beat around the bush. He's not quite as brutal as Fulkrug was on Sunday, but you know, he is as stern, as to the point as anyone else. And you know, Jurgen Klopp was very much like that. You know, he had a bit more of a jovial approach to it because
smile on his face,
because you know, he clearly enjoyed living and working in England. He kind of got the culture a bit, so he knew that the jovial, jokey bit would win him like admirers, if you like, you know, rather than kind of be the typical stern, down the line type of German. He was quite, you know, left field, if you like.
Yeah.
Which was refreshing from a German national.
True.
Normally, you expect them to be, you know, not mechanical because that would be rude, but kind of almost autonomous, you know. That's how German.
What's the word? Is it Teutonic or something like that? Something like that. Is it Teutonic or something like that? Word like that.
Yeah.
Lone Star saying West Ham have collected just 13 points from 13 league games since Potter took charge in January, leaving them 17th in the Premier League table. And this is the thing. I mean, he's still just above Avram Grant on the old percentage chart.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bode well in that. So I'm not surprised we saw the booing after the game on Saturday. Phil saying, worrying signs in that press conference. Did you notice he wouldn't look at a reporter when talked about Alvarez? So there's obviously possibly some meat on the bones of this one because it looks like he could be on the way out. As we think there may be a few on the way. I mean, obviously, I see it pop up on my phone again. Kudos and Saudi, but at a cut price still.
Yeah, righto. The thing is, it's West Ham. They're likely to flip and go for it. But the thing is, I think Kudos is far too ambitious for Saudi. You know, I don't think it is a case of money for this. I think he wants to be in the Champions League final. He wants to be in the World Cup finals, you know, with Ghana. He wants to go all the way, but he ain't going to do that in Saudi. He knows that.
There is that, but I mean, to be in them kind of, or have that kind of ambition to be like that, you've also got to play like it. And we've seen recently that his performances have not been up to par. So it's all right saying all this. And this is unfortunately where players let themselves down because they come up with these comments. And it's a case of, well, have you really proved your worth that you're worth that amount of money? Yeah. Have you actually proved that you can rip up goals? Because we know full well, I mean, he's not exactly bagged a brace of goals this season, that's for sure. If anything, in that we've seen him lose the ball on occasions. Yeah. We're not seeing the same burst of speed that we've seen the season before.
Yeah,
and yet you could just see the attitude, and we've all seen it. We've all seen it. Michael's saying press conference was waffle, blah blah bullshit, basically.
Mm.
You see him on the West Ham there. Mama saying hello to Tony Claude. Lone Star saying West Ham manager Graham Potter believes Nicholas Fulkrug's recent outburst was not helpful to the club, and would prefer players to voice concerns behind closed doors. Well, as you know, Lone Star, sometimes truth hurts, and as we've all noticed, when it comes down to the tin tax, as they say, it's the manager that takes the brunt of it, and he's the one who picked the team at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we've seen some weird and wonderful changes and formations that Potter comes out with. He needs to go. Well, I think you two were talking about it, or was it still saying at the end of the day, you got to think he was going to originally come in on this 6-month contract, then gets a 2.5-year deal, but surely in that, I'm sure there was a clause in it that if he didn't do X, Y, Z, that he probably could be moved on.
Yeah.
Probably won't start Saturday. Yeah, as penance for it, Fulkrug don't start. You can just see it coming a mile off, can't you? Damien was saying it was all about the manager, then deviated towards the players because he knew he was going too far. Yeah. Why would I lie? I want to win. And this is what we want, Damien, isn't it? We want to win. We want to win at the end of the day. We know we're not going to win every single game, but you want to see the boys put effort in. As long as the boys put effort in, we feel like we can walk away. At least they tried. But when you don't see him trying, it's getting irritating.
Yeah.
You were saying before
can you see the likes of like Julian Dix or Alvin Martin or Scotty Parker or Sebastian Schemmel putting up with the kind of performances that we're putting in right now? I used them all different times in time, none of them would put up with that.
They're too mollycoddled this day and age. That's a problem, Budgie, and this is where it kind of lets itself down. That old kind of staunch mentality, as you said, like them, they're just mentioning players there, and that's just their club.
Yeah.
We can rattle off names from other clubs which are exactly the same way. Now it's a case of, you can't say that because you're going to hurt his feelings. So be very careful. It's stupidity.
To me, he reminded me, Fulkrug at the weekend reminded me of Roy Keane. Roy Keane was the last player I remember standing there at a post-match interview saying, well, I don't know what you want from me. We were crap.
Yeah.
Or words to that effect, Don't know what you want from me. Would you want an apology or what? I don't know. And that kind of reminds me of what Fulkrug did at the weekend. And, look, yes, you can be as critical as you like. It could have been done behind closed doors, yes. But then would there be any talking points for us if he had done, first of all, but, like by the fact that guys like us are talking about it and, the likes of Sky Sports, Fox Sports, or whatever the case may be, they're all talking about it. And therefore, that means that it's in the consciousness, which means that it has to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an issue that we want changing. And it's good that it's out there.
Yeah.
It's
definitely created the debate, that's for sure. I mean, like, usual saying, before the press conference went off air, did anyone catch what he said to the reporters thinking he was off air? Oh, that'd be interesting to know what that was, if anyone can relate to that. Brendan saying Kieran did a nice thing on Green Street Elites earlier. We're going to show you something on that anyway ourselves.
Yes, we're going to show you the same video.
Usually you two can stop laughing what Potter said. Yeah, usual. He said, and you two can stop laughing. Oh.
Yeah, that's what he said. And that was aimed at Moose, I think.
Oh, was it Moose?
Yeah, Moose and whoever he was with. He went, and you two can stop laughing and all.
Actually, I'm not really listening anyways, Budgie. Dear. Damon saying, who called it an anti-West Ham channel? Some, I've never, the person came in before. It's in the community chat anyway. You see the person's name in there, and he said, like, he's gone, he ain't going to come back. That's fair enough, Damien. At the end of the day, we know we do this. As you said, Budgie said, the West Ham review. The Sunday night is about all walks of life coming onto that one. And of course, as you know, on a Wednesday, the regular one is me, Budgie, Fuzzy, and the Arsenal boy, Anthony. Yeah, people are like that, I suppose. After Southampton, I think every channel is anti-Potter. True, 10 men at the back is very true. It's just a case of, look, it's one of those, isn't it? We're all entitled to our opinions. Simple as that. Lone Star saying Hammers Football TV is way better than Early Doors TV. Thank you very much. As usual, love that. You're saying this to Steve. Tony Claude's also saying, yeah. Tony's locked at West Ham as top of the shelf. Thank you as well. Appreciate that, Tony. Big up to Michael Chelsea as well. Don't forget to go and see his channel. Big up to and Budgie. Who gives a crap what others think? I certainly don't. Absolutely, mate. I just made it up. It made me kind of chuckle in that respect. Michael Bleed saying last night it was an anti-football channel. It's been shit the whole season in Prem, and people can say what they feel. And exactly that. Freedom of speech, as they say. Freedom of speech. Let's say as it is, it is. Harry's saying, H is saying, a huge bong just goes off camera, Budgie. And they're all saying like each other, as always. Are you doing both channels, Tone? No, so basically what I'm doing, Damien, it's literally Hammers Football TV from now on. I've still got to kind of change some elements over. It still kind of shows Early Doors in the background. It's just the fact at the moment with work, we've got a big project going on at the moment. I'm involved in that, so I've managed to do certain pieces with this, and it's slow progress. But as always, it will get there. It will get there. Aces, good to see you as well, my friend.
Just a rebrand, Damien.
Brother saying, has he kidnapped James, Lord B, Howard, Harry, and Herbert? All the ages. Yeah, keep hold of them. They're saying like each other. He's saying like you as well.
Aces.
David saying 1-0 wins you the game all the time. Yes, very much so. It seems to be in Graham Potter's head. 1-0 is enough to get you through. And as he says, though, 1-1 don't. Yeah. Tony's saying like that as well. Big up to our good old friend Jeff as well, the Bowling Lounge. Make sure, again, go and see Jeff and obviously give him a little tickle and a like and subscribe. Only just got here, but if I keep hearing all this anti-West Ham stuff, I'm out of here. Oh, Kettler Black comes to mind with Jeff because he's never anti-West Ham, is he, kind of figure? He's good as gold as Jeff. Only joking, mate.
Hope you will, mate.
As you saying, Tony Claude, you don't have the answers. Oh, dear. The Bowling Lounge is capitulating. He's telling them as well. The one good thing about this channel, this new thing I'm using, Budge, it actually tells you how many comments you've got in the stream.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So we're just behind a little bit. Terence saying, Tony, anti-West Ham, geez, there are spammers in all walks of life. Thankfully, there are real hammers like you and Budgie saying as you see it. Thank you very much, Terence. And as always, I think in certain respects, we need to get you on the channel as well, mate.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Aces, you have all the answers, brother. Absolutely. Budgie's not convinced. Lone Star saying Potter inherited a poor squad. He needs time, and Budgie said that as well. And I agree in certain respects. We've got to see one window out of the way. What can he? Does he bring anything in? Is he going to get money to spend? Who knows? Who knows? And Jeff saying hello to everyone in the chat as well. Michael saying we keep sacking managers. We'll be the next Watford 4 managers. Oh, imagine that. Yeah.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We can't do that.
Damien saying, I wish you a good evening, both. Damien, as always, appreciate you being in.
Nice to see you, mate.
He says, obviously, watch the presser. We'll make sure I'm actually catch up on that. Thank you for letting us know about that because it'll be interesting to watch. Thank you, matey. And hopefully you drop back in it at some point as well. Tony Clyde only Fortet has all the answers. We'll come on to that as well. Big up to our good old friend Aaron as well. Aaron Talks Football, doing some smashing stuff with his channel at the moment. Again, make sure we go and give this man a like as well and subscribe. Big up Tony and Budgie. Hope you're both well, gents. We are indeed, mate. Got your old man in here, so of course we're enlightened. And now we've got the son in as well. It's even better.
Yeah. Could get spicy in the chat, eh?
Let's hope so. Superstar in the building, yeah. Aces and Harry. They're all saying hello to each other. Arteta lost us the league. Dreadful. So, I mean, I don't know if you managed to see. I just kind of watched the last bit of the Arsenal game, and then on comes Mateta, and basically he scored Odegaard, knocked him down to the ground. He looks like he's out for a while now, Odegaard. And basically see that Raya was off his line and dinked the ball right over him, and it hit off the crossbar and into the goal. Great goal.
Yeah. I've got to be honest with you, Mateta is one of those players that the better he gets, the more money he's going to be worth.
Oh, definitely. Totally agree on that.
At this moment in time, I reckon he's probably a £65 million player to Palace. You know, they would probably want 65 million for him.
Yeah.
But someone like Arsenal or Liverpool or Man City go and buy him for that kind of money, he's immediately going to put 30 million onto his price tag. Do you know what I mean? And I know that that's the way football goes, but when you think about it, he's an £100 million player. Looking at him, the way he plays, you know, and I love Declan Rice, and if he's 100 million plus, then so is Mateta.
Agree on that as well.
Different positions, I know, but you know, for what they give in their positions, they got to be worth equal kind of money. But you know, like I said, Palace will only get about 60, 65 for him tops if they sold him.
So, right, we're going to let Howard's now been known as Harry or H.
Yeah.
Hope you're okay with that as well. Yeah, he
mate.
prefers Harry. That's good. The name of my son's name, Harry. So it's a good choice. Good choice. 10 men at the back saying if we keep Potter, I think Noble needs to be his number 2. Get some DNA back into our team. That's a great shout.
That is a fantastic shout. And it's something that I've heard one or two other channels mention in the past. And you know, there have always been pros and cons to it, which I understand, you know, but I think that last point he made in that comment about getting DNA back into the squad, back into the team, I think that is the one. That is getting it back into the team is, you know, priority for me.
Yeah. Michael, please just say what you read. Usual Cockney rhyming slang. Harry Monk spunk.
Yeah.
Aaron saying, Terence knows. I hope you're behaving in the chat, young man. Yeah, they're off already. Usually my personal moniker hasn't been sitting well with me, Mama. That's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Steve saying, after watching that Potter presser, I'm really worried for the coming season. Maybe, you never know. Possibly he could be frustrated as well.
Yeah.
With what's going on.
The thing is, we don't know what's on offer to him in the summer, do we? We don't know whether they're going to say to him, right, there's a chunk of cash, do what you got to do, or they're going to say, right, here's a few quid. If you want more, get rid of what you got. You know, we just don't know. And there are going to be players that he's going to want to move on. Let's hope it's the right ones, though, eh, Tom?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the key thing for me as well, mate. You know, we know we've got when you sit here that we're going to raid the old Southampton bin and get Walker Reed and the young lad and
Walker Peters, you mean?
Yeah, that's the one. Walker Peters. Walker Peters. The young lad, what's his name? I think he begins with a D. And then the talk of Aaron Ramsdale. Jesus Christ.
Well, I think I've viewed my thoughts on Aaron Ramsdale enough times on this channel. Walker Peters, I wouldn't mind. The other young lad, what is it? No, not Diarme, something like that.
Dibble, no, is it Dibble? Something like that. But,
Yeah, anyway, he
another one.
ain't such a bad player. I think the fact that he's in that Liverpool side sucks for him, really, because he's better than that, to be fair.
True.
But if we're going to get championship players, why not go to the championship and get ones that are still in the championship? Are going to cost us a little less, you know.
But
There are, I mean, look, we went and got Somerville at the end of last season. Okay, that hasn't panned out so well because of the injury, but we went and got him at what I thought was a reasonable price. You know, get him a full season, injury free. I don't know, handful of assists, handful of goals. You know, he's going to be 60, 65 million pound player as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I can see the benefits of doing that. Look at Bowen. I mean, what do we pay for him? 20 million?
Sounds stupid, wasn't it? Big up, Ravi.
You know, and now they're talking, what, 80 odd million to Liverpool and this and that. That's bollocks. He ain't going anywhere. But, you know, the prices that they're talking about for him now, you know, that was from a championship player. So,
true.
You know, I mean, I know it's not all about the prices and it's about what they do on the pitch. But, you know, we've had quite a decent history of championship players, though.
Yeah, and they've turned it all right for us, really.
Yeah.
Again, I think it comes down to the management and the coaching. That's the other thing.
Yeah, and it's some of the Premier League players that we've had on loan and things that haven't worked out.
Yeah.
You know?
Revy's asking the question, thoughts on how angry Falk was at a recent post-match interview. We've covered this one already, Ravi, but what we're basically saying is it's good to see it from a fan point of view. You don't mind seeing that. I mean, Lone Star's saying that, you know, it's probably it could be a motivation thing, considering we are going to Brighton. It could be a good thing to retaliate back from this game, because Brighton not exactly having a great game. But I think you guys said last night, Bud, you and Kieran, our records against them has not been great.
No. We've had 19 games against them in recent history, and we've won once, 4 draws and 13 defeats.
Good reading, then. Good reading. Yeah, that's good. Michael's saying, I think Kudus will go anywhere at the moment. He just wants out, and I agree on that as well. I mean, it's funny that he turned up for Arsenal and he's turned up for Liverpool, trying to apply his trade, but
didn't really turn up too well for Arsenal, in my opinion. Though he was okay, he was good, but he weren't the player that really impressed me against Arsenal.
Oh no, I know you're on about
it. It was Paqueta that impressed me against Arsenal.
He was good. It's just a fact of.
That was almost mentally. That was almost a Bobby Moore type performance from him.
From Paqueta,
he was clever. He was clever that day.
Yeah,
and you know, for me, it was him that turned up, not really Kudus.
Well, it seemed to be more when he was when Arteta was next to him. He was kind of more showing his things.
Yeah, fluttering his feathers.
Aaron saying, smash the likes up, get Tony to 1K. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that as well. YouTube always amazes you sometimes, mate. You'll find that out as it goes along. Just wrote them down and we'll give them a listen later. Brilliant says. Phil saying 5-goal involvement all year, was suspended for that many games after Yid's debacle. And I think if you look at that, I've always said, Phil, it's because obviously the Lopetegui situation. That's the reason why I think he got himself sent off.
Yeah.
Jeff said since he bought his own seat for goal celebrations, he used it once, ain't he? Yes, it's true. That's very true, mate. Yeah. Okay. Remember the fast row, assist skiffle. Yes, remember that. That was class. Michael Chelsea, it's been mad for yeah. So of course he's been doing a lot of streaming lately.
Hmm.
Cream in their knickers. What a comment for the night.
Little fanfare for that one, son.
Let me find that one. So that is So where would we go on that? That's should we do the cheer on this one instead?
Yeah, go on. Brilliant.
Yeah. Is it available? That song. Ravi saying, I expect players more honest in interviews. This is the thing, they've got to be very careful these days. The FA have got restrictions.
Yeah.
But as you said, lucky enough, Falkland's not going to get any kind of penalised and that. Players don't like to be told what to do. They cry like little children. We need a bar steward as captain and make them cry off. Fuck off. And this is the truth. I mean, it goes back to what Budge said. You know, the old school guard and that would pull you to one side and like have a little kind of close shell word like in your ear hole. If you're not doing it kind of thing, then you'll find out the hard way, basically.
Yeah, exactly that. And, you know, it's not just in professional football either, you know. Like I remember as a 22, 23-year-old lad going to a team, all the guys were older than me. They were all, you know, a lot more experienced than me. I was just a flash little 20-odd-year-old that had come into midfield, and I was getting picked because I was good enough, you know. And then one day I kind of did this flash little, it weren't quite a Rabona, but it was something of that nature. Try to do this flash thing, and it went out and gave them a throw in, which they scored from, not directly, but from the play. And the captain pulled me to one side at half time. He says to me, "You ever do anything like that again, Clive, and I will break your legs myself."
and that's how it used to be, isn't it? That's how it used to be.
And then, like as we like got to the edge of the pitch, because it weren't back in the changing rooms in them days, you know. A quarter of an orange, you know, and a swig of water and a fag, you know what I mean? That's what it was like at the side of the pitch. But like even the manager, he came over and he went, "Wait, listen." He goes, "You are not Pele. This is you're the wrong fucking colour for a start. Don't start trying to be him." And I'm like, all right, I've learned my lesson.
That's
I said, Nick's told me. I said, you don't have to tell me. He goes, yeah, I do.
That's brilliant. Ravi saying, question for you both. What are you expecting in the transfer window for next season?
Well, look, I'm a little bit sceptical to name names, but I'm rather hoping, I'm not going to say I'm expecting, I'm rather hoping that we address the midfield and have a bit of pace in there, as well as grit, style and determination. I'm hoping we're addressing the forward line, and I'm hoping we can improve the back line with an addition, maybe, or maybe a swapsy, you know. Like, for example, my perfect scenario would be Mavropanos is sold and Agard comes back and we get another. You know, that would be the perfect scenario for me for the defence. I'd love Agard to come back under this regime at the moment. I think he would thrive. Yeah. It's completely all him. You know, I thought he'd done brilliantly under Moyes, and a lot of people were sceptical about him. They were like, you know, not so enthusiastic. I thought he was great under Moyes.
I think the only problem to that one, Budge, is the fact of, is he too comfortable where he is now? Would he want to come back? Yeah,
I mean, there is that, mate. There is that. But currently, at the moment, he ain't really got a lot of choice.
True. That's very true. Jeff saying, to be fair, Falkirk, if he had said it behind closed doors, we probably all would be reading about it. Nothing seemed to stay private in our club. Very true. Something always gets leaked. At least we've heard what he said rather than just hearsay, and that's a true comment as well. Good evening to Pepsi. Pepsi saying, £15 now for cod and chips. This country is getting worse by the day.
Absolutely, Pepsi. Absolutely. I went and had a burger and chips and a cup of coffee in my local cap, and it cost me $14.95. And I was like,
Jesus Christ.
wow, what?
Did they actually kind of lift the burger up to you and put it to your mouth to make sure you don't use
Well,
your hands?
No, mate. And I asked for onions, and like, there was about an inch of onions underneath my burger.
It's true.
Like loads of them.
Try
buying a pie at Arsenal.
It's true. Usual saying, Ian Potter today, he did seem to come across as another company stooge. Yeah, it kind of. I mean, I said when he first came in, like as we just said earlier on in the show, when he got to the fact that it was a 6-month contract, become 2.5 years, he obviously said something to Sullivan to make him give him that. If he's going to be like that, then yes, that's not a good sign at all. Evening, Ray. Good evening, Silver. Tony, Budgie, and all. And they're all saying that. And there you go. The bowling downs for Jeff's channel. Thank you very much, Mama. Lovely as always.
Legend, isn't she?
Phil saying, even if Potter subs did work the weekend, we would want a 1-0 win. We'd still be criticising as wasn't good enough. That's West Ham fans for you. That's what we're like sometimes. We are like that. Terence saying, Pepsi 15 cotton chips. You think that's bad? I can't even find halal spam fritter. Ravi saying, question for Fo. Thoughts on the recent atmosphere at West Ham? Justified. It's justified, Ravi, at the end of the day. We all, like if you think about with Liverpool, it's a fact of everyone wants to do well, wants to see the club do. And I said earlier, as long as the boys are putting in the shift, and even if they lose the game, we walk away happy because at least we know they try to do something. It's when they don't. That's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
That's when you know they're just. Unfortunately, with the way the boys have been playing recently, West Ham, it does seem that they're already at the beach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that is a shame.
And I agree with that, Ton. And in addition to that, Ravi, I would say that we kind of, as fans, as match-going fans, we were kind of spoiled a little bit with 3 years of really good European football. Okay, and I say really good European football. What I mean by that is great atmospheres, the occasion and everything else. Sometimes the football was, a little dodgy, but we done well in all three competitions, in all 3 seasons that we were in the European competitions. So, we were very proud of that, and it gave us a hunger for more of it. And when we didn't qualify for Europe last season, we kind of were resigned to that. We thought, well, okay, let's not be greedy about it. I'm talking generally for West Ham fans. Let's not be greedy about it. We understand we're not going to have Europe this year. Let's concentrate on the league, and we'll build under this new regime of Julian Lopetegui. Now that has changed to a regime of Graham Potter, and we're the second worst team other than those that are relegated. So, yes, the words that Tony used, justified, I would say, were probably top of the list. That justified, top of the list. But also kind of, self-inflicted, I would put on there somewhere as well. Because as fans, we got really excited about Europe. But we understood that, okay, we haven't qualified this year, but we're doing all right in the league. And we haven't.
Nah.
And, the atmosphere reflects those sort of things, and that's probably not helped, not having European football.
I'm going to get you to answer this question here, and also, apologies in the chat. We are way beyond on the comments, but I'm going to fly through some of them, so I may miss out some of your questions, but I'm going to try.
Who I think will win the Champions League? Remind me who's left in it, please, Tone. I know it's.
So you got Arsenal, you got PSG, you got Barcelona. Who's the other one? I'm trying to think who the other team is.
It's not Tottenham, is it?
Not in the Champions League, mate. That's for sure.
Sorry. Sorry. I had this little fella on my shoulder here going, Tottenham. Stop. Bugger off. No, it's not.
H1 £85 on Mateta scoring, so well done, mate, on that.
Excellent.
So yeah,
Oh, it's Inter. Ravi's put it in there.
brilliant. So
right down near the bottom.
Thank you much for that, Ravi. Thank
you,
Michael
Chelsea.
Michael was saying how many Arsenal players have won European trophy?
They've all put it in. Michael.
Yeah.
So, who do I think will win? Well, look, I'm sorry to say that I don't think it's going to come to the UK. It won't be Arsenal because they can't win bugger all the time. Captain Black is in charge, right? So I'm sorry, Arsenal are going to probably lose.
Oh, he disappeared. Hopefully he'll come back and he's.
Where I am now.
I have no idea. He just disappeared off the screen, man.
I reckon there's somebody works for the company that runs this site. They're Arsenal fans. They didn't want me to say something.
Get him out.
Get rid of him quick. I'm sorry to say, I do think that Arsenal will come second. I don't think they'll win it.
No.
As an Englishman, I would like an English team to win it. Arsenal are the only English team left in it. It breaks me heart to say it, but I would want Arsenal to win it this time round, as they are the only club representing the UK in the competition.
That's a good shout. That is a good shout.
So, but I don't think they will. I don't think they can. I don't think they've got it in them. However, with the kind of performances that they've been putting in over these last few games, chances are they will get to the final. I just hope they can sustain it in the final. But I think it's going to be... Who have they got in the next round, in the semi?
I think it's PSG, I think.
PSG, yeah.
And they are, you know...
I think it'll be Inter and Arsenal in the final.
That'd be interesting. It will be interesting because PSG at the moment have been phenomenal.
You know how you kind of have to worry about the dark horse a little bit. Inter have been that dark horse all this year in the
totally agree on that,
Champions League.
Totally agree on that.
Quietly gone about their business and done their job very well, and they've not had fanfare and trumpets over it. So
let me just because Jeff took the words out of my mouth on this one. It's obviously the Mateta goal. Not seen it, but somehow I'm surprised Raya got caught off his line. I've been waiting for that to happen for weeks. And the thing is, also Saliba was one who got caught out on it as well. But Jeff, I totally agree on that because he's been it's been waiting to happen. So I'm glad we're on the same page on that one. If we need some big fuckers, they don't want to get stuck in there. We've not been the same since Ballon Dawson left. Totally agree on that as well. Oh, what's going on there? Getting used to all this here. Yeah, Potter don't and frustrating now. He definitely will be after Sully bucks up the window. Yeah, it's true. So, like I said, I'm going to go through some of these comments because we've got a couple of videos to play.
Yeah, mate.
Michael Billy saying with the forecasted out, we should have 150 to 200 million in the summer, but it needs to be spent wisely. Definitely agree on that.
Yeah, and there was that comment earlier also. While you keep putting them up, and stop me if you need to. Sullivan might be looking to sell soon, and so the more he can get for the club, the better it would be for him. So if he can get some marquee signings and a few 40+ million pound players in the squad, it's a better valuation when somebody comes to buy the club. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sullivan backs Potter in the summer, even after he's, sold who he can.
Yeah. We'll see, mate. We'll see. What's him saying? If we get champion players, we'll become champion side. Get rid of Potter now. We'll see, mate. We'll see. I mean, I get that comment. Entirely get that as well. Words of picture saying, Tony, your channel management is excellent, giving guests and chat ample time. You and panelists deliver thoughtful, insightful content with a friendly, fun community. We should be proud. Words and pictures, I really appreciate.
Thank you, words. That's nice to hear. We
You
love
know,
that sort of feedback. Thank you, mate.
because at the end of the day, and that's what it's not about me, is it? It's about us. It's about you guys in the chat as well, talking to us, and
Yeah.
and that's why we've built up quite a good community because of that. Because you want to make sure that everyone, as much
This would just be like a WhatsApp video call if it weren't for you lot.
yeah,
You know, I mean, we're
basically.
just talking to each other if it's not for you guys, you know. So
Brenda's
you help
agreeing
to make this what it is. You
Totally
know?
agree on that as well. Yeah, Brenda's agreeing with that as well. And Mama's saying, what a lovely comment for words, pictures. Thank you, Mama. And Usual saying this is a great channel. But as Budgie said, it all comes down to you guys as well. You know, that's what really makes it. And
And
really...
the fact that, you know, like I've said before, that first and foremost, we're all football lovers. Don't care what colours you wear. At the end of the day, what matters is that round ball going in the onion bag with 22 sweaty bodies chasing after it. Okay, that's what it's all about, really, basically. Yeah, and the fact that yes, you are you're a West Ham fan. You're a multi-team platform, though. You know what I mean? And it's been that way for some time.
Yeah,
and that shouldn't change, Tom. Even though, you know, like you are a West Ham fan, you want to do more West Ham content. There's room in the day for it. There's room in the day for it.
Oh, of course, man. Of course. I mean, and
the fact is, we are doing the West Ham review, and I would say a good 40 to 45% of our chat are non-West Ham supporters.
Yeah. And this is where the Sunday night takeaway comes in, because it's giving opportunity for other channels, other supporters to come in and talk about football, like as you said, that's what we like to do.
And that broadens our horizons as well, because
very much so.
If we're coming up against, let's say, Liverpool, for example, I mean, you've got a relationship or friendship with Uncle Rod's, Anfield Uncle Rod's, and he would quite willingly, quite happily come and sit where I'm sitting and chat to you about how he thinks Liverpool might approach the game.
Yeah. I mean, there's a young lad out from as well.
The thing is, you've made this platform an open platform to anybody with an opinion, Tony. You've never shut the door to anyone that I know of. You know what I mean? And if someone said to you, I'd love to, I can do that. We get you on. I'm a bit like that with people,
Yeah.
And I think by being open and honest and allowing other people to come in and be open and honest, what you're going to get is you're going to get people going, actually, there's no nonsense on there. It's just people giving views. Some might agree, some might not, so on and so forth. But, it goes on in the chat. It goes on the screen. There's some banter.
Yeah.
And there's some fun, and there's some stuff that maybe shouldn't go on screen.
We do a full crew movement. He learnt off of us. That's what he's done, mate.
You know what I mean?
He learnt from us.
At the end of the day, it is like just mates having a bit of fun and sharing it with the general public.
Exactly.
Anyone that wants to join in is welcome. You don't even have to like football.
No, that's the thing about it. Ravi's saying, does Bowen go to Liverpool? Does he start every week? If Salah's just signed the new contract, then no.
Well, no, he don't. And to be fair, Liverpool won't make a move on him all the time they've got Salah, because they don't want to tip anybody else's hand. Liverpool are clever like that.
True. I mean, Michael Please saying true words. Some live streams, they don't even read the chat out. Yeah, and it's a bit frustrating when that happens, I must admit. Jeff saying 1 or 2 championship players is fine going out, and getting 5 to 6 is risky. Totally agree on that. We don't need to go all out for them, but a couple that's going to do the job. That's the key.
Yeah, exactly that, Jeff. And exactly. We've spoken about it before,
absolutely,
mate.
Brendan.
Even what you said, Sarah Rabbit, no. Yeah, and also, go on.
Question: thoughts on the way Potter makes use of his subs? Well, Saturday, if you go by that, yeah.
Previous weeks, go by that, and you would go, actually, there's something about them.
But the problem is there, Budge, as we said before, it's no use going one step forward and like 4 back, not 2 steps back. We go 4 back sometimes, and that's bloody awful.
Yeah, and the thing is,
Thank you, Mama.
he has been sort of like, he's had his feet tied together a little bit because of some of the injuries that we've got. I'm not saying that we're any different to any other club, but what I'm saying is that because we've got a smaller pool of players than the likes of Arsenal and so on and so forth, we are struggling a little bit to put a decent 11 on the pitch in their right positions.
Because Asia just put there, we're all cheeky cockneys, Mama, spreading love and piss taking equal measures. Their Brenda says, children cheering, the cream knickers is disturbing. Ravi's gone. That cheer sounds like it's from Sesame Street. Well, if you look at it, we can add this in as well. Just to go with that as well. So that's not bad, is it, really? Yeah. Harry Monk is a proper East End. Yeah, absolutely. Mama saying, maybe because I'm married to a Cockney, I always feel comfortable here, Harry. That's good.
Well, it is that probably helps, you know what I mean? But the fact is that you're a football lover, Mama, and you're also a really decent person, and you support everybody that does this that you know. And you do more than just support them. You do things like putting our, links up on the screen and in the chat and stuff.
Absolutely.
You go above and beyond for everybody, Mama. So
she's one of the best.
Yes, and if we could, I wonder if there's a Moderator of the Year award or something, Tony. I would definitely put her forward for it because she goes above and beyond.
She'll win it hands down, mate. Simple as that.
Definitely.
I used to say my best mate for 20 years was a Toon. Your lot get there, Mama. Yeah, they're brilliant people.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. So, load of parties down at my spot. Oh, not good.
I've got 2 adopted daughters, and their dad is a Toon. He goes he goes to every home.
Yeah.
And I still talk to him now.
That's brilliant, isn't it? That's good.
And like.
I like
our mutual bad moment has way gone down in the distance, but me and him are still pals. It's
brilliant. Love to hear that. Obviously, Frog saying he's had a load of parking certain my spot. So Brendan's saying, "Are you in a car park?" H is asking, "Are you dogging?" In certain respects, they do. But I think at the same point, they've proved themselves, and that's this way Falker would make his comments, that not always they're going with what the manager asked for. Just trying to get through some of this.
I mean, he mentioned that the players weren't doing what the coaches had asked. He said that in that post-match interview, so,
West Ham should try and go out for the league next season.
League Cup.
Pretty much living in the van at the moment. Must be working hard then, Frog. Mark was saying fan base split is old school and new age. Old know the bad times. New age only knows the Moyes era and think we are better than we are. And you said that earlier on. Really.
There is a lot of truth in that because.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. Good to see you in here as well.
Hello, Jason.
They want to adopt you, Frog. Thank you, Michael. On that. Big up, smashing up the likes and the subscribe. Thank you, Ravi. Michael Chelsea saying the Arteta fanboys Matrix are at it again.
I'm laughing at something I've just seen coming up in the chat.
Fuck Arsenal. If Arsenal win the Champions League, that's another 5 million in our coffers. Yeah, it's true. Yes.
Yeah.
5 million of nothing.
It's not. 5 million is nothing, but it is a player's
Oh.
wages.
This that's what we should have done. Add on in the Declan Rice deal. Yeah, 150 million should have ramped itself up. You said I can't bring myself to want Arsenal. That AF TV channel has totally made me anti-bummer. Yeah, that's different all levels.
Yeah.
Terence saying, Budgie, if Arsenal win, Aaron will be impossible. I'm nearly used to the miserable dwarf. Arsenal win, I have to get used to him all over again. Look at that. Look. Big up to our good old friend from Toronto as well. And that's the Oregon Goon. Big up from Oregon. Kudos wants Arsenal. Dow,
Good
good to
evening.
see you, my friend. Hope you keep
Couldn't
him
be
well.
more wrong.
Hope you keep him well. The entire arrogance. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. H is saying, Skulls, Earthy Potts, Gil Hermy, come into the squad. Whoever leaves, leaves. The money can be spent building around our young hammers. Everybody now, I'm forever blow. We in bubbles. Absolutely. Fucking right. Mama saying, proper football fans having proper football chat. That's what it's all about. Ravi saying, what I like about this channel, it's run by good, honest people who don't only know football, but know about life and likes to have a light-hearted laugh. Got to.
Absolutely, Ravi. Absolutely, mate.
You know,
And, you know, a lot of our giggles come from the chat because I have been chuckling over Brendan and Harry or H talking, and it's quite funny. You'll get to it in a minute, Tom.
oh, mate. I mean, the main thing is there when you think about, as West Ham fans, we've seen the highs and the lows with our club.
Yeah.
More than once. Oregon Goon, Terence is saying, please take kudos. Arteta will probably pay him in goal. Talking of bubbles, is Mavropanos staying us? Well, he's low cost, isn't he? So it's an easy one for them.
Yeah.
Ravi saying, Tony, please get Lee Gunner on one day if you can. I'll try my best. Do talk to Lee every now and then. I'll try, but Frog saying, yeah, Gunner will be good in here, Ravi. Michael Blees is saying, good night. All great show as always. Up at 3 again. Bloody hell, Michael. Glad I'm off Saturday. Get a lay in and pink waving. We know what you mean. Goodbye. Absolutely. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go on to one video first of all, and that because obviously, for most people, if you're not aware of it, it is Anzac Day tomorrow, and good old friend Kieran.
Yeah,
I'll let you do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those of you that don't know what Anzac Day is, it's a celebration of the soldiers that were lost during World War I and World War II from Australia and New Zealand and, all of the little territories around it. Like we celebrate Remembrance Day, they have Anzac Day, which is tomorrow. And so we've prepared a little video which Kieran kindly contributed to, and so I'll leave that in your hands there, Tony.
Here it is.
Hey guys, just a little message about being Anzac Day tomorrow in Australia. It's a big day in Australia, a very big day. All stemming from the First World War and the beginning of the Anzac. And it's a public holiday tomorrow for us in Australia. And it's a real big time in Australia to reflect. So I just wanted to do the poem that everybody knows. And it's, they shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not rear them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.
Thank you, Kieran.
Yeah, it was quite fitting. That it was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't get the chat moving now. What's going on here? That's it. Got to go. It's a little bit different on working the controls compared to the other one.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just slightly. Whereas before you can move down and it scrolls with it. This one you've got to keep the do thing a little bit different. Well, thank you all. You're most welcome. Harry H is saying Stell, Tone, and the two old fucks on a Wednesday. The best shows, the best communities. The two old fucks.
Brilliant. Cheers, H.
Brilliant, H. Love that.
Two old fucks.
Ravi saying Tony was that laugh from the Likely Lads. The Likely Lads, yeah, it's true, Ravi. That's for sure. Yeah, and yeah, I had Jeff too in that. Yeah, definitely agree on that as well. Mummer is a legend, without a doubt. He's tied up on there, unfortunately. Mummer is the only mod I sing to. How much is bondage these days? $4.99, depends on the day of the week.
But this is it. He says, I'm tied up, shoes. He says, how much is bondage these days? You don't get that on Sky Sports, do you?
That's for sure. Ravi saying, Tony, next Sunday's show, you'll have to bring the Davy Crockett out on. Bless you, mate. Bless you again.
Thank you very much.
Good evening to Anthony Herbert as well, mate. Big up, lads. Question, Budgie. How the fuck did you get in? I couldn't get on the show last night. You see, that says it all, Anthony.
Well, I've got to be honest with you, Anthony. I was here 5 minutes before Tone was.
And it notified me as well. I knew you was there.
Yeah, I did.
Lone Star saying, reckon Villa will win the FA Cup. Yeah, I think they've got a good chance of doing that, Lone Star. I agree on that one. Arteta loves this channel, has just subscribed. It's very kind of him, as always. Aish is saying, good evening, Anthony. I thought I saw a blind whippet tied to an Austin Allegro in the car park.
Poor fella's got so many different dogs and vehicles.
And big up to our good old friend Lee Statham TV. Hello, everyone. Make sure you go and give Lee a little bit of support as well, as always.
All stuff Leeds and more.
Yeah, and I hope my mum and dad as well, as Budgie always says, we hope they're all doing very well for themselves.
Yes, indeed.
Folks saying their good name or boost that age. And they're saying hello to each other.
Anthony, just in case you're confused, Harry Monk is also known as Howard Ailes. So you've spoken to him before.
That's nice. Yeah, look. Showing the love there for Kieran as well.
Yeah.
Nice. The Harry Monk in. Usual saying that was lovely, Kieran. Yeah, nice touch from Kieran on that.
Yeah. Yeah, he put it into the WhatsApp group this morning, and I just said, can I just distribute that? And he said, yeah, sure.
Nice.
And then that was it. Did a little stuff on it.
Yeah, saying like each other. And am I near to the end? I've caught up with the chat, which is one good thing. So on that note, then we can go on to the next thing, which is obviously Green Street Elites, because obviously we haven't done this for a couple of weeks now. So this time we said we were going to do it, and here it is, folks. Good old Timmy Breaker.
Timmy Breaker, great. I loved him. Loved Timmy Breaker. You know what I used to like about him? When he played, when he came out of the tunnel and that, he always acknowledged all the kids around where they would come out of the tunnel. He would always acknowledge the kids, give them a little wave and all that. He was great. He was really, really great and tough opponent as well. But, you know, also one of the early kind of wing backs of his day as well, wasn't he? He used to like break him forward. He was good. Hang on. Barbara Streisand.
Oh man.
But yeah, Timmy Breaker. What's your best memory of Tim?
I think if you look at it, it was a case of I like the fact that he kind of he made a couple of mistakes. Don't get me wrong, but he quite did a lot of interceptions, especially when he's got to become first team right back.
Yeah,
and he wasn't afraid to bomb on down the line as well, and
Yeah.
it was good to see that as well. But he just got stuck in,
yeah.
and that's what I liked about it as well. He didn't muck around.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said he was like one of the early wing backs that we had. You know, he wasn't afraid to break forward, but whenever you needed him in defence, he was always there. Yeah, and of course, yes, he got beat a few times, but it was bloody difficult to get round him, get past him. You might have got the ball past him, but if you think you're going as well, mate, hold up. No. You just sit there for a minute, mate.
Yeah, and it was the thing, wasn't it? Because he still come at you. You know, he didn't give out.
Tough as boots, mate. Tough as boots. And yeah, but like I said, I think my one real big memory of it was the way he treated the kids in the fan base. You know, he always had time for autographs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
In the early days of the Instamatic cameras and all that, you know, he would like get the occasional photo with a young kid. He was good with the kids, you know, and I think because of his aura, his demeanour, he was a big, tough guy, wasn't he? You know,
Yeah.
and I think because of that, he made extra special effort to make sure the kids didn't fear him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree on
And
that.
I think he deliberately made himself approachable, you know, for the kids' benefits, because you know what it's like. All the adults are, can I get your autograph? Can I get your autograph and all that? And like some players, they weren't approachable like
Nah,
he was.
nah.
You know.
Well, what surprised me seeing the statue put up there on that, you know, when you saying that he's 6 foot.
Yeah.
For some reason in my head and that, I always put him as being a short arse.
No, and do you know what? I always had him at 6'3", 6'4" in my head. He was, because I suppose, I mean, I'm an average height guy. I'm 5'11" and a little bit, right? But you know, and I just seem to think, I don't know why, for some reason, that I would have looked up at Tim Breaker. You know, I always believed that he was taller, but he was. I think it was because of his demeanour that he seemed like a bigger bloke to me. You know.
Yeah,
but I do admire the way that he, you know, he used to make time for the kids before and after the games. You know,
a rare quality these days, that's for sure, Budge.
Yeah,
He's a rare.
and you know, like these days, you're kind of deemed to be a hero if you do it.
Yeah,
you know,
totally agree.
Mark Noble with young Isla, you know, Jermaine Defoe with young Bradley.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo with a long list of kids that he's spent a lot of time with for various reasons. You know, it's rare.
Very true. I do agree.
You know, at one time, it used to be the whole team would turn up in a hospital bed, or not hospital bed, hospital room, to go and visit one kid, you know, and then make it for the whole ward or whatever, you know. So, you know, like those days are few and far between now. And I think those were also one of the things that made football the beautiful game, because of the way the stars of that game were approachable.
Well, again, another real quality. They didn't forget that where they came from in the first place. They started off.
Never did.
Yeah.
And, you know, players from, you know, foreign lands, let's just say, when they first started coming to the UK and stuff, I mean, I think in my memory, it kind of really all started with Sam Allardyce at Bolton, really, the major influx of foreign players. I know there were foreign players in the league before that, but, you know, and it kind of, to me, this league welcomed it, open arms. It just took a little longer for that to filter out past the pitch.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You know?
Just catch up the chat before we're going to start wrapping up, because I've got an early start myself, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Terence is saying, I've always admired the Americans and the Anzacs for the way they remember and respect the fallen. Sadly, in this country, people would rather admit to supporting Spurs than admit to supporting ours. Jesus Christ. Brendan saying, Tim Breaker, yeah, good honest pro. Definitely agree on that as well.
Yeah.
Jeff also saying, yeah, been a long time since we had a right back like him, top geezer.
Yeah.
Yes,
Talking
he's the chief scout of Bolton.
No, he's not.
Is it Bolton?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah. So I was just thinking I did another video after I put that one. You know, because I'd already done it for Early Doors Football TV, because we were going to do it a couple of weeks ago, weren't we, Tim Baker?
That's right.
But we've had a couple of weeks off, so it was still branded under Early Doors Football TV. So I had to redo the video just to rebrand it. And then I did a second one, the one for next week. And I'll tell you who that is in a minute, boys and girls. Going to like this one.
Hard, energetic foot back, Lone Star saying definitely that. Yeah, Phil says, don't forget that little bit, Budge. Yeah. H is saying, solid defender, no nonsense, great in the air, played in my first West Ham game. Yeah, nice.
Nice, yeah.
So on that note, yeah. Who you got coming up for next week?
So next week is a popular one because we must have had it requested 8 or 9 times now. But I mean, 8 or 9 different people have requested it. And it is the most requested Green Street Elite we've had, or the most voted for. And that is, and you don't have to be a West Ham fan to love this man either, Paolo Di Canio. And we got a special little bit of video on it. It's not just one of the generic, you know, little bits of video of him scoring that goal. This is a special little video for it, and I'm quite proud of the video for it for next week.
I'll be looking forward to that one then.
Paolo Di Canio. We'll probably do it a little bit earlier, Tony, so we can like get some interaction from the chat.
No problems, mate. No problems. Yeah. Towns is saying, Budge, I remember John Lyle used to insist on the players mingling with the kids in the family enclosure.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't forget that.
His words were, paraphrased a little bit, but his words were, this club was built on families in the East End, was built by families in the East End, and you've got to acknowledge that kind of thing, you know. And he was insistent that he did the same at Norwich, you know. Not Norwich, Ipswich, sorry.
Yeah.
He did exactly the same at Ipswich, you know. He made the fans interact with the kids and go to the hospitals and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember seeing it in the national papers, you know.
Nice.
All of that, because that's the sort of thing, you know, that is missing from today's game.
The only club I say you see that from in the Prem, and that is Brentford and Thomas Frank because he made
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it.
Listen, West Ham have got their community programs and stuff. Most teams have. But now they kind of concentrate on particular
niche areas and stuff.
areas and things like that. Whereas, like back in the sort of like 80s and 70s and maybe even into the 90s, like you would find that even like, for example, maybe a young kid from Wimbledon again.
Oh, I don't know what happened there, mate. Again, he's kicked us out. What the hell?
Yeah. Maybe a kid that lives in Wimbledon might be a Watford fan, for example. And then the next thing you know, like the hospital that he's in is just like the whole of the Watford team have turned up to come and see this young kid that's in hospital, and like that doesn't really happen so much anymore.
No.
It's more now things like actors and singers and TV personalities that are doing it because there's only one of them or maybe a handful of them.
True. Because I say the last time I see a load of footballers going to see a kid in hospital, and that was when Saka was injured. That's the only time I saw players around the bed as much as they used to be in the old days.
Yeah.
Ray's put here, the woman next door owns an aviary. I said to her, I bet you've had a blankety blank, blankety blank. Fill in the words. Brett is saying in the intro reminds us how good Potts Senior was. Hopefully Potts 3.0 would be good. Well, he seems to be whipping up trees. So that's a great sign for us.
Yeah.
That's really good. Good evening to JB as well. Good evening and evening all he's saying. And there's Salo in there. And as Frog says, Ray, a cock or two. There you go. So try and do that on Blankly Blank. They're all saying hello to each other, as always, which is a great community thing that we do. Love this. And this is what makes this community great. Everyone all willing to say hello to each other.
And, the fact is that there is no kind of like team barriers between any of this. It doesn't matter who you support. It's a community. Once you've opened the door, you take your colours off to a degree.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great on that. Brett is saying, Ray, we are waiting. Was Frog spot on? Ray saying, yes, of course he was there. And Frog's gone, disgusting. Womble. Russ, good evening to you as well, mate.
Good evening, Russ.
Hope everything's all right with yourself. H, you should change the camera to 10cc. Yeah, Frog say, well, except Spuds Budge Nutch. Well, people in the chat are still hanging around with us and that. Unfortunately, I've got to cut it a little bit early today, rather than our usual 2 to 3 hours. Big, this project and that is it's going to be the death of me. It's a long thing. It's still a way to go yet, but we're off there.
And there's no refunds for a short ride this week either.
Absolutely, exactly that. Lone Star said, I'm off to the coast.
Nice.
But yeah, you'll find us again back on Sunday with the Sunday Night Takeaway show, and of course, hopefully, if we use the same platform, if Anthony's still having trouble, then we may have to change it over and go back to getting him back on because he couldn't get on. Whereas Budgie's had no problems at all.
Well, I had 3 times now.
H, as always, thanks very much. Great show, much love, chat. Yeah, definitely agree on that. So there. Get the new thing ready for the weekend, lads. Yeah. We don't.
I think I'm going to need bloody what they call them, Gaviscon. My house is going to give me some chip.
Ben is saying, yeah, Jeff saying, good show, guys, in chat. Thank you very much there, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mama saying, thanks both, a great stream. Thank you very much, Mama.
Thanks, Mama.
The chat keeps jumping before I'm going to get into the next one. I'm trying to get to Brendan's way there. Brendan's saying, great show, great chat. Thanks all. See you later. Brendan, again, as always, appreciate you being with us.
Nice to see you, Mr. C.
Usual saying, thanks to Tottenham Budgie. Thank you very much, usual. There is the stream. And obviously, yes, don't forget Green Street Elites. Make sure we go to Budgie's channel, share, like, and subscribe.
I'm trying to get around a new system as well. So
we look forward to that one as well, mate.
One or two hiccups on there, but we'll get in there.
We'll get there. Lone Star saying Corpus Christi returning for the PSG game. Come on, Arsenal. Ray saying top show. Ray, thanks again. And
thanks, Mama, for putting the link in there, by the way.
Just seeing, obviously Ray said about the woman owning the shop, and there's also the one about the woman walking past the pet shop. But I'll leave that for another time because it's a bit, I'll tell Budgie afterwards.
Yeah.
Frog saying, be good, everyone. Always a pleasure. And as always, Terence, good night. Oh, fantastic show. Thank you very much for that as well, matey. And
thank you.
As always, thank you very much for being with me again, Budgie. It's been a great show. And obviously, at least we forget Anzac Day for tomorrow. And let's think of Kieran and obviously all the Aussies out there as well.
Yeah.
And we look forward to the next one. And obviously, Lone Star saying, enjoyed it. Well done. Lone Star, as always.
Number 15, I believe it will be.
Number 15, mate.
And it is Paolo Di Canio. So, yes. I'm looking forward to that one.
Look forward to that one.
And these are all, I've got a little list of them here in my book. Before we go, look. I've got a little list of them in my book here. And I'm crossing them off as we go through them. And there's a list of names that came through a few weeks back, Tony. I've written them all down as they come through. So I've got listed up the number 24 at the moment. So
nice.
I've got a few here that I can do in advance. And so we've got some real good ones coming up.
Brilliant.
Real good.
Because I like the one that you just said as well about obviously going back to the 60s, the 70s and 80s and the 90s and coming back to that.
Yes. Well, what we'll do is we're on number 16 next, 15 next, sorry, which is Paolo Di Canio. We'll get to number 20, which is Leroy Rosinha. I'll just let you know that. There's a couple of real good ones in between.
Nice.
When we get to number 20, we'll have a little rebrand of that, and we'll start doing maybe 2 or 3 players at a time from a particular period.
Sounds good to me, mate.
Or something like that. We'll just sparkle it up a little bit.
Frog's saying we should pay Paolo to deliver the pep talks.
We should be paying Paolo Di Canio to manage this club.
Oh, that'd be the next thing, isn't it? But there's still 16 hanging around with us and that. Thanks for being with us. We really enjoyed that. Brendan's
we really appreciate all your input and everything, guys. We really do.
Brendan saying, would Pep give Paolo talks when he retires, Frog? Oh, that'd be interesting. And Ravi's coming in with the last one. Budgie, Tony, you know the chant, gone for a burger. He's only gone for a burger. He's gone for a burger. Jeff saying, Paolo's a nutter, but we could do a lot worse than having him as a striker coach. Well, you imagine him, striker coach being him, Ludo as a goalkeeper coach.
Yeah.
Dixie as the defence coach. Oh.
And then have our midfield coach as Gianfranco Zola.
Oh. Lovely. not a bad task.
That'd be pretty awesome coaching lineup, wouldn't it?
Not a bad thought in that, So
how to make Graham Potter feel inadequate.
Not intimidated whatsoever.
No, not in the
But again, people, thanks for hanging around with us. Now we're now going to be saying, "Oh bloody hell!" Ravi's coming with the last comment, and my days, no, bring back Avram Grant.
Good God! How do you ban somebody from this channel?
Quite easy, quite easy. But before we go on that, as always, our last thing that we always do, come on, you
Come on, you irons.